All right. Let's talk websites, specifically your website. You
Uh,
want it to, like, really pack a punch, right?
right.
That's what we're diving into today.
For sure.
You're not about to let your website just sit there, be kind of invisible, right?
Yeah. It's amazing how many websites are just sort of kind of there,
Totally.
not living up to their full potential.
And you're not going to let that happen to yours, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're doing this deep dive just for you.
Okay, yeah.
We're digging into this recent blog post.
hmm
It's called 7 Quick and Effective Ways to Improve Your Website's Impact. It was published September 20th, 2024.
And what I like about this particular piece is its focus on actionable advice.
Yeah.
It's not just theoretical fluff, it's about tangible changes that you can make to see real results.
Okay, so paint the picture for me. Someone lands on your website. You've got, what, like 10 seconds to grab their attention before they bounce?
Plus, probably first impressions are everything online.
Exactly. So no pressure.
Right.
But this blog post gives us 7 key strategies to make those precious seconds count.
And it all starts with understanding a fundamental shift in how people are even accessing the web these days.
Okay.
Think about it. When was the last time you browsed for something entirely on a desktop computer?
You're talking about mobile, right?
Exactly. The author kicks things off with a pretty staggering stat from SEMrush. A whopping 63% of Google searches now happen on mobile devices.
Wow.
That means for most people, their first impression of your website is on a phone, not a desktop.
63%, that's huge.
Yeah.
So if your site isn't optimized for mobile, that's like a lot of potential customers squinting at tiny text, struggling to navigate.
And immediately hitting that back button. It's not enough to just make your website fit on a smaller screen. It's about the entire user experience. Imagine trying to, order food on your phone from a restaurant with a website that's clearly not mobile friendly.
Oh, yeah.
Menus that are impossible to read, buttons you can't click. Frustrating, right?
The worst.
You probably just give up and find another place.
100%.
Yeah.
So, first takeaway for you. Grab your phone right now, pull up your website, and be brutally honest. How's the experience? Is it smooth sailing or are there roadblocks?
Love it. Now, assuming you've aced the mobile test, the next hurdle is ensuring your website speaks directly to your ideal customer.
Which brings us to strategy number 2.
Yeah.
Benefits over features.
Yes.
I'll admit I'm guilty of this. I tune out when a website hits me with a wall of jargon or, technical specs.
We've all been there. That's why the author stresses the importance of focusing on how your product or service benefits the user. What problem are you solving for them? How will their life be better because of what you offer?
Okay.
You
Okay, so it's about connecting on an emotional level, right?
Mhm.
Not just listing off a bunch of features.
Absolutely. They use a great example of a website headline. Instead of a generic, we're a fitness coaching company. Imagine reading, want to unlock your dream body. Which one pulls you in?
Oh, the second one for sure. It feels more personal, like it speaks directly to what I want.
Exactly. So here's another challenge for you. Go check out your website's main headline and be honest. Is it a snooze fest or does it make you want to learn more?
Yeah, this is so important because even with an amazing product or service, if you can't communicate its value, like in a way that resonates, people will just click away. It's all about grabbing their attention from the get-go and making them want to stick around.
You're spot on. And this ties directly into the third tip, which is all about clarity.
Okay.
People need to understand what you do and, more importantly, what you can do for them. And they need to understand this quickly.
Yes. No one wants to waste time trying to figure out what your website is about or where to find the information they need. Time is precious.
Exactly. That's where the idea of a clear roadmap comes in. The blog post actually mentions marketing expert Donald Miller and his emphasis on making it crystal clear for visitors what action to take next. Think of it like those you are here maps you see at the mall,
Yeah. Give me an example. How do you create that kind of you are here roadmap on a website?
Sure. Take software implementation, for example. It can be a complex process, right?
Mm.
Good companies break it down into manageable steps on their website. They might have sections for discovery, customization, training, and launch, each clearly outlining what to expect. It makes the process feel much less overwhelming for a potential customer.
That's a great example.
Right.
So instead of bombarding visitors with a ton of information all at once, you're guiding them step by step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it goes back to psychology. People are more likely to take action when they feel informed and in control. They need to know where they are in the process and what the next step is.
Okay, time to put on your website critic hat again. Does your website have a clear path for users to follow? Do they know what to do next?
It's amazing how often businesses overlook this, but it can make or break a visitor's experience. And speaking of things that can make or break an experience, let's talk about choices, or rather, having too many of them.
All right, tip number 4, and this one at first glance seems a little counterintuitive. Don't overwhelm with choice. Wait, more options are usually a good thing, right?
That's what we're conditioned to think. But in the world of websites, it can actually backfire.
Okay,
And there's a psychological principle called Hick's Law that explains why.
okay, I'm intrigued.
Hmm.
Tell me more about this Hick's Law.
Basically, it says that the more choices you give someone, the longer it takes them to decide. And too many options can lead to decision fatigue. They just get overwhelmed and give up,
Oh.
you know?
So how does that play out on a website?
Imagine landing on a homepage with a million buttons, links, and pop-ups all screaming for your attention.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. Think about it like this. Have you ever been to one of those mega stores where there's just so much stuff
All right.
that you end up leaving empty-handed because you can't even process it all?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes less is more.
Exactly. A well-designed website, especially the homepage, should have one clear primary call to action. What's the one thing you want visitors to do? Sign up for your email list. Download a free guide. Schedule a consultation. Make it obvious. And don't clutter your navigation bar with tons of pages.
Right.
Keep it simple, intuitive, and focused on those key actions you want visitors to take.
Okay, time for some self-reflection. Am I guilty of overwhelming visitors with too many options? What's the one action I want people to take on a Joyify site? These are good questions to consider.
They are. Because oftentimes we try to do too much on our websites. We want to appeal to everyone, and in doing so, we end up appealing to no one.
So true. It's about making it easy for your ideal customer to find what they're looking for and take action. Which actually reminds me of our next tip, which is all about making your website scannable.
Right. Let's be honest, in today's world of information overload, people rarely read online content word for word.
I know I don't. I'm a headline skimmer for sure.
Most of us are. We scan, we look for headlines, bullet points, things that grab our attention.
Yeah.
And that's precisely how you need to approach your website content. Instead of treating your website like a novel, think of it more like an engaging blog post. Easy to read, easy to digest.
Exactly. Use headings to break up the text, keep paragraphs short and sweet, and embrace the white space.
Yes, it's not wasted space. Think of it like breathing room for your content.
Totally.
It makes a huge difference for readability.
It reminds me of this podcast outline. Using bullets and headings makes it so much easier to follow.
Exactly. So when you're working on your website copy, step back and look at it objectively. Is it a wall of text? If so, it's time to channel your inner editor. Break it up, add some visual interest, and make it scannable so people can find what they're looking for at a glance.
Okay, so we've grabbed the visitor's attention with a compelling headline, we've communicated our value, and we've made our website a breeze to navigate.
Now what? How do we seal the deal?
That's where our next tip comes in. Calls to action or CTAs that really pop.
Let's talk about it. We all know CTAs are important, but what separates a good one from a forgettable one? It's about making it crystal clear what you want visitors to do next. Sign up for your newsletter. Download a free guide. Schedule a consultation. And then making that action irresistible.
So it's not just about having a CTA, it's about the wording, the placement, the design making, it enticing for the user.
Exactly. For example, think about the difference between a button that says learn more versus one that says unlock your potential. Which one are you more likely to click?
The second one for sure. It speaks to my aspirations. Learn more is kind of meh.
Exactly. You want your CTAs to stand out visually, too. Use contrasting colors, make sure the buttons are a good size, and place them strategically on the page where they're easy to see and click. Remember, you've got mere seconds to make an impact.
It's all about grabbing their attention and guiding them towards that desired action.
Don't be afraid to experiment with different wording, button styles, and placement to see what resonates best with your audience. Speaking of experimentation, let's talk about something that's changing the website game as we speak, AI.
It's everywhere right now, and website content is no exception.
Right. But is it the magic solution some people claim it to be?
That's the million-dollar question. AI tools can be incredibly helpful for generating ideas, polishing up your grammar, even, crafting whole paragraphs, but
There's always a but.
exactly.
Yeah.
What are the potential downsides of relying too heavily on AI for website content?
The key thing to remember is that AI is a tool, not a replacement for human creativity and personality. It can be helpful,
Yeah.
but it's not the be-all and end-all.
Because as amazing as AI is, it can sometimes churn out content that feels, well, a little robotic and impersonal, right? Like it's missing that human touch.
Precisely. And nobody wants to read website copy that sounds like it was generated by a machine.
Yeah.
Think about it like getting an email that's clearly from a robot, not very engaging, is it? You want your website to feel like, wait.
It's like getting like a birthday card.
Yeah.
You'd so much rather get a handwritten note from a friend than some generic, mass-produced card.
100%.
It's the personal touch.
It makes all the difference. So even if you're using AI to help you brainstorm or refine your website content, make sure the final product sounds like you. Inject your personality, your unique voice, your brand's tone. That's what will make you stand out in a sea of AI-generated sameness.
Because at the end of the day, people connect with people, not robots.
Couldn't agree more. And that brings us to the end of our 7 website impact boosters.
We covered a lot of ground. We talked about the importance of mobile-first design, focusing on benefits over features, providing a clear roadmap for your users, simplifying choices, making your content scannable, creating compelling calls to action, and, of course, using AI strategically, not blindly.
And what I love about these tips is that they're not just about making your website, prettier or whatever. They're about creating a better experience for your visitors. They should walk away feeling informed, empowered, and excited to engage with your brand.
Exactly. It's about treating your website like a welcome mat, not a revolving door. Right?
Yeah.
You want people to come in, explore, and stick around.
Absolutely. And when you can achieve that, your website transforms from just a static online brochure into a dynamic tool that delivers real results for your business.
So good. So if you're feeling inspired to give your own website a little TLC, don't wait. Even small tweaks can make a big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think, the blog post we discussed focused on these like individual elements, right? But what if you viewed your entire website as a cohesive story? How could you weave these 7 tips together to create a compelling narrative that captivates your audience and makes them want to keep clicking?
Ooh, I love that. Instead of just a collection of pages, your website becomes an experience.
Exactly. It's about taking your visitors on a journey, one that's engaging, informative, and ultimately leads them to the action you want them to take.
So much better than just throwing a bunch of information at them and hoping something sticks.
Right. Strategic and intentional. That's what we're going for.
Love it. Well, listeners, that wraps up our deep dive into all things website impact. Hopefully you walked away with some actionable takeaways to level up your online presence.
Until next time, happy optimizing.